Evening. I am reconvening the June 3rd, 2025 meeting of the Livingston Board of Education. Can we all please rise for the flag salute? Roll call, please.
Mrs. Charles?
Present.
Mr. Cohen?
Here.
Mrs. Gong?
Present.
Mrs. Kemke? Here. Mrs. Yelisevich?
Here.
And Ms. Bialik?
Present.
Okay, so tonight we gather not only to conduct business of the Board of Education, but to recognize and celebrate the incredible contributions of our retiring educators. These educators have dedicated their careers to shaping young minds, building futures, and leaving a legacy that will last far beyond the classroom. To our retirees, your commitment, passion, and tireless effort have made a profound difference in the lives of countless students. You've been mentors, role models, and steady hands guiding the generation forward. Your impact cannot be measured by test scores or lesson plans, but by the lives you've touched and the inspiration you sparked. On behalf of the Board of Education, our schools, our community, thank you for your years of service. We wish you joy, good health, and fulfillment in your next chapter. You have earned it, and then some. Congratulations. I'd like to introduce Sue Berman, our Director of HR.
Hi, everybody. Good evening. We're going to recognize each of our retirees separately. So when I call your name, if you would saunter up to the front, and I'm going to ask the board to come over here and stand so that you can take a picture with the retiree in front of the red curtain. And Michelle Bent will kindly take the picture. That'd be great. Just over here. No, down. Okay, great. I'm going in alphabetical order. Just so everybody knows, it's not by years of service this year. All right. Beth Alterman. Beth knew that she wanted to be a kindergarten teacher from the age of 8. She fulfilled that dream for most of her almost 40 years of teaching, spending the last 18 years at her dream job teaching at kindergarten at Mount Pleasant Elementary School. She has worked with the best colleagues imaginable, and the students have flourished like flowers before her eyes. She will miss those remarkable children and her work friends more than she can say. Beth looks forward to spending time with her grandchildren in California and figuring out golf in retirement. We wish her joy and relaxation in all of her retirement endeavors. Congratulations. Christopher Bickle. For Chris Bickle, I'm making him take off his keys. For Chris Bickle, his 18 years in Livingston were marked by many passions, including engaging pedagogy, a love for staff and students, a desire for the social studies program to reach into the community. He is most proud of his participation in Stuff the Bus over the years, especially the trip to Ventnor, New Jersey, to help those affected by Hurricane Sandy. His work as a liaison for multiple townwide committees, interdisciplinary efforts leading to the K-12 John Lewis Letter Project and the Dinosaur Project with Dr. Gemilaro, and the partnership with Kane University to bring Holocaust education to the Livingston staff are also highlighted achievements. In retirement, he looks forward to spending more time with family, staying involved in community initiatives, and exploring other passions he hasn't had time for previously. We wish him fulfillment and happiness in his retirement endeavors. Rick Darst. Rick is stepping away from the classroom, but his heart will remain here. Over the years, through laughter, challenges, and everyday moments, he has learned as much as he has taught. Teaching, though not always perfect, is described as messy and beautiful, filled with growth and grace. The bonds built, the lessons shared, and the kindnesses shown to one another will stay with him always. He thanks Livingston for letting him be a part of this incredible journey, stating it has been an honor. We wish him all the best in his retirement journey as well. Congratulations. All right, Phyllis Fiore. You good? Phyllis has dedicated 25 fulfilling years to teaching kindergarten. While her decision is bittersweet because teaching has always been her passion, she takes with her all the wonderful memories of watching the children she taught grow, learn, and laugh. The family relationships she built and loves are also cherished. She has been so fortunate to have worked with principals and colleagues that have truly felt like family. She thanks her colleagues for making her days at Mount Pleasant Elementary feel like home. Retirement brings new beginnings and cherished moments, blessed by her 2 newly born granddaughters. We wish her much happiness and cherished moments in retirement, and will miss her very much. Not sure if Jamie Fredette made it. Is she here? Okay, we're clapping anyway. Thank you. We are just actually honoring 11 members of our retirement community today. There are 31 people who are retiring this year, just so you know that. Okay. Sue Latino. Sue Latino was hired in 1989 as a second grade teacher at Collins Elementary School, where she spent the next 20 years teaching kindergarten, first and second grade. She then moved to Harrison School, where she taught fifth grade, specializing in math. Her most recent role has been as one of the original members of the K through 2 math intervention team, where she has been an integral part in shaping this program over the past 7 years. She is looking forward to traveling to Spain in September and training to become an EMT in her hometown during retirement. Wishing her wonderful travels in her new experiences in retirement. Congratulations. Steve Milano. Steve's career was once described by a retired English teacher as a life of service. This included serving as a firefighter for over 35 years, with 9 years as a volunteer fire chief. He also dedicated 38 years as a TV production teacher at Ridgewood and Livingston high schools. Additionally, he spent 40 years as a video consultant, helping build schools or improve TV studios and conducting professional development to train teachers in numerous districts. His impact as an educator and mentor continues through those he taught and trained, and now those working in the industry, embodying a lifelong commitment to serving others. We wish him continued fulfillment and peace in his retirement. Seated right next to him, Mr. Rabner. Guy Rabner spent a quarter century at Livingston High School. Among the top things he is most proud of are starting the Italian program from scratch, helping to grow it into a full, successful district program. He also participated in the Italy exchange program, giving students real-world opportunities to enhance their learning. Serving as the advisor to the academic team, which just won their first national championship. Which grew from a small group to one of the best in the country, is another highlight. He coached the Heritage Middle School tennis team and the Livingston High School girls tennis team, earning Essex County Coach of the Year in 2004. Beyond these roles, he hopes he is remembered as a good, kind, friendly, helpful colleague and employee dedicated to students, the school community, and the town. We wish him a fulfilling and enjoyable retirement. Congratulations. Chris Russinello. Chris graduated from Trenton State College in 1991 with a degree in biology and education. He taught down the shore before moving north when he married his wife Emily in 1992. He taught science in Jersey City until moving to Livingston in 2000, starting at Mount Pleasant that September, closing on his first house in early October, and welcoming their first son, Kit, at the end of October. 2 years later, they welcomed Andrew, and a little more than 2 years after that, they welcomed their daughter, Dari. Tragically, they lost Andrew in a biking accident in 2016. Chris has taught at Heritage Mount Pleasant Middle School and High School for the past 25 years and has directed over 50 plays, both dramas and musicals, at both Mount Pleasant and Heritage. Chris is honored to have taught with stellar staff members who have become more like family than colleagues. He will think of them fondly. We wish him all the happiness in the world and peace in his retirement. Congratulations. Diane Sakura. Diane's career in the Livingston School District spanned more than 20 years, leaving a lasting visual and personal impact. She began as a certified art teacher with the Livingston Recreation Department, but found joy and flexibility as a substitute teacher while raising her children, visiting all elementary schools, and building connections there. She eventually became an instructional aide, where she found a true sense of purpose and fulfillment. Throughout her time, Diane was celebrated for her commitment, her exquisite handwriting, her artistic flair, and perfectionism, making her the first choice for crafting school visuals. At Mount Pleasant Middle School, she continued as a creative force in the Library and Media Center, offering input, meticulously organizing the makerspace, and supporting student activities. Diane's artistic talents and dedication left a lasting impression on everyone who had the pleasure of working with her. We wish her a joyful and relaxing retirement. Kay Utes. Kay is retiring after 29 years as a math teacher and team leader in Livingston Public Schools. Since 2000, she has inspired generations of students by making math engaging and accessible, helping them build both skills and confidence. As a team leader, she provided steady guidance and support to her colleagues, earning their respect and friendship. Beyond her professional contributions, Kay treasures the lifelong friendships formed along the way. As she begins retirement, Kay looks forward to spending more time with family and friends and enjoying the well-deserved rewards of her remarkable career. We wish her much happiness and relaxation in her well-deserved retirement. And last but not least, Nora Yuknowitz, please. Nora began her career in the Livingston Public Schools in 1993, hired by John Hopton to teach first grade at Mount Pleasant Elementary School after gaining 2 years of teaching experience post-Seton Hall University. She remained teaching first grade until she followed a bubble group to second grade and then third grade, where she stayed for many years. During her time, she acquired a master's degree in counseling from Montclair State University and completed certifications in school counseling and school social work. She then taught fourth grade for 8 years before moving to Mount Pleasant Middle School to finish her career teaching English language arts. In retirement, Laura looks forward to traveling with her husband, starting with a trip to Ireland this year. Wishing her wonderful travels and cherished times in retirement. Congratulations.
Okay. On to the superintendent's report. First, at the last board meeting, we had a student who requested that the board consider starting an American Sign Language class. This has been researched in the past, resulting in the challenges of finding a teacher properly certified. We will investigate the adoption of the program and reach out to districts who currently have their programs. Now, I'd like to introduce Alexandra Marzullo to introduce our students who earn the seal of biliteracy.
Good evening, everybody. It is an honor to stand here in front of you to reward our students with this amazing recognition of earning the seal of biliteracy. This prestigious recognition honors students who have demonstrated a high level of proficiency in two or more languages. It is a testament to their dedication, perseverance, and exceptional linguistic abilities. Among this year's recipients, of which there are 60 of them, 6 of them have earned the seal in 2 languages. The seal of biliteracy, to qualify for the seal of biliteracy, students must demonstrate proficiency in reading, writing, listening, and speaking, either through an AP test that they take or through a state-approved assessment, which we use STAMP assessment here at Livingston. And this test is self-adaptive, and it assesses the students in those different domains, and it's a rigorous test, as the students will attest to. It's pretty long because it's self-adaptive. It allows the students to produce as much as they can, giving them real-world situations to respond to. This year's recipients represent a wide array of languages, which I'm really excited about because each year it seems to expand. So we have Chinese, French, Hindi, Italian, Korean, and Portuguese, Russian, and Spanish. And their accomplishment reflects not only their individual excellence, but also our district's commitment to preparing students for a global society. So tonight we are proud to recognize and celebrate their outstanding achievements. Recipients, when I call your name, if you can come up to get their certificate and then make your way to the risers there. We're going to start with Chinese, and Suzeyu Kui. Here, come here, sweetie. Helen Howe. You want it? Yeah. Okay, great. Christina Chiang. Varian Lam. Justin Lee. Justin is a recipient of the seal in Chinese and also Spanish. Brian Pan. Sophia Peng. Rebecca Shen. Oh, sorry. Hannah Shi. Emily Zhang. Kevin Zhang. Asher Zhao. Udaya Belatu. Oops. He's French. I'm sorry. And Luke Escobar Rivera, who earned the seal in both Spanish and French. There should be 2 certificates there for him. You can go over there. we have Arav, Aurora. And this is for Hindi. And Purva, Gopal. And in Italian, we have Antonia Chaparro. She said she was going to be late. I'm not sure she's here. Great. And Antonia is another recipient who earned the seal in 2 languages. She earned the seal in Italian and Spanish. And we have Julia Colangelo. So for Portuguese, we have Aubrey Koblinger. And Enrico Nagata, who's earned the seal in 2 languages. He earned it in Portuguese and in Spanish. And Laura Pereira. And in Russian, we have Artem Valyuk. And for Spanish, Benjamin Best. Is Benjamin? Yes, Benjamin's here. Good. Darcy Mayalik. Zachary Barber. Diana Boogs. Kelly Chen. Jordan Fleischman. Eric Guo. Is Jalen Young here? Sarah Kashkush. Giselle Leon. Avery Lee. Maya Mahalingan. Samay Malde. Is Alexandra Mann here? Benjamin Martis? Alexis Rubenstein? Is Eric Neo here? No, okay. Brooke Siegel? Audrey Shu? Melanie Yari? Lucy Liu? Oh, you, sorry. Kevin Zhang? We have another Kevin. Okay. And Jenny, Sue? All right, I just want to double check, did everyone get one? Because I didn't get to check everybody in, people were coming in. Okay, perfect. So please join me in congratulating our exceptional 2025 New Jersey State Seal of Biliteracy recipients. To our honorees, your achievement is both impressive and inspiring. Earning the New Jersey State Seal of Biliteracy reflects not only your language proficiency, but also your dedication, resilience, and curiosity about the world. As you take your next steps, whether in higher education, the workforce, or beyond, I encourage you to continue embracing language learning. Use your voice to foster understanding, strengthen communities, and make a meaningful impact wherever you go. Best of luck to you in all your future endeavors. Congratulations.
Let me just say on behalf of the board how proud we are of all of you. You represent everything we could hope a Livingston public school student could be. Study, achieve, and not only that, but what we see up here is a beautiful representation of the diversity of our community, both through the language they study and the students that are up there. And it is just absolutely something to celebrate. And so on behalf of the board, we congratulate you and we wish you continued success. And also on behalf of the board, if you want to leave, you can.
He said he was going to leave it for us.
As we transition from the Seal of Biliteracy presentation, we're going to start the Equity Audit Response Committee presentation. All right, Lisa, we're going to get started, okay?
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? Short girl mic. So first of all, hooray for all of our students and our retirees. We are now at the point of the evening where we're going to be sharing out the work of the equity team across the district. Should I get louder? Good night, everyone. We love you. I first want to thank the board for allowing us the opportunity to continue our work in equity, inclusion, and ensuring that we have the support of a coaching company. We have been truly fortunate to have a relationship with Us Squared, and Megan Futurelli, the owner, president, and our main coach, is here to sort of organize and lead us through our presentation. Megan has been with us for quite some time and has done an amazing job of guiding us as we explore our commitment to equity and inclusion, and as we implement the results of our audit from the 23-24 school year. So I'm first going to introduce Megan, who will get us started. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much, Lisa. If we could, we do have this slide deck that we'll go ahead and put up. As Lisa shared, my name is Megan Futurelli. I'm the founder and Chief Empowerment Officer of Us Squared Consulting. We were able to really do some great work this year, and as you'll notice as we go through the presentation, I will be speaking very little because the heart of this work is really all of your staff here at Livingston. So we'll really want to make sure that we highlight that. So as we're going through some of these pieces, I'll just do the little dance every time. All right. So we have two other members of our team who also served as coaches. We'll have them introduce themselves as well. Today, you're going to be hearing from the Equity Audit Response Committee, and then we'll also be sharing a little bit of information about Delta, which is the District Equity Leadership Team Alignment. That was the group who really conducted a lot of the work and the hard lifting. The Equity Audit Response Committee that you're hearing from tonight really conducted a lot more of the how do we do this, the strategy, and bringing in all of the constituent voices. So as this work started, the equity audit was conducted by another firm in the spring of 2023, with the results presented in the fall or late fall, early winter of 23-24. Us Squared was brought in August of 2024, and we spent this entire last year with the Livingston team conducting quite a few different pieces. I'll walk through some of those now. So our first step was actually meeting with the Equity Audit Response Committee, which you see in front of you today, where we'll be talking kind of through what we've done. The second step was to actually align those goals from the Equity Audit Response Committee with Delta, which was the boots on the ground people working this work. And then the third step was actually coaching the building-based teams, and that's where our team at Us Squared supported each of the buildings. And again, you'll meet the other two coaches as they come up as well. So let's talk through the Equity Audit Response Committee, and I'm actually going to go ahead and pass this over to one of our members of the Equity Audit Response Committee, which was Ms. Starr.
Hello, I'm Star Preston. I am the parent of a second grader at Mount Pleasant Elementary, and I am the parent representative for the Equity Audit Response Committee. So as Megan mentioned, in 2023, there was an equity audit conducted, and it was district-wide, and it identified 5 main areas of focus. Those were general DEI, or diversity, equity, and inclusion, climate and culture for both staff and students, academics, communication, and family and community engagement. The audit report concluded with a section that includes the challenges and recommendations, which I personally found really helpful in considering priorities. So the Equity Audit Response Committee, we all sought input from our respective constituents, and then we came together to share those insights from their perspectives. We then looked for parallels and consistencies amongst the group, and we used those consistencies to identify the goals for this year. We then finally shared those goals with Delta, who then set about doing the work of achieving those goals.
Thank you so much, Star. So now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and share with you what we actually did with Delta. So in our first meeting at Delta, we actually created a working folder that actually still has access for all of the members to be able to see all of the resources that were created. That will stay in conjunction and stay active for everyone to access. We also took actionable steps between those meetings where we had the Delta members complete homework, which was the book talk, as well as implementing the lesson plans. And then our Us Squared team actually did some work as well. We created, curated the lesson plans, worked on the glossary. You'll hear about all of this as we continue this evening. And as I shared, we do have two other of our team members here with us tonight from Us Squared, Dr. Tammy Dean and Dr. Carolyn Strong. They'll introduce themselves a little bit more. But each of our coaches worked with anywhere from 2 to 4 buildings, providing that very close, very supportive work of aligning the work, not only with the district as a whole, but with each individual building as well. All right. Struggling with this piece.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mary Penny. I'm a 5th grade teacher at Collins Elementary. I'm part of the Delta team as well as the Equity Audit Response Committee. And as Megan mentioned, one of the ways that we were targeting and working towards the goal of alignment and expectations in Livingston K-12 is the implementation of co-authored lesson plans written by the Delta team and Us Squared. Speaking from the elementary lens, across all classrooms, K to 5, these lesson plans were designed to be 15 to 20 minutes in length and to be implemented during the already predetermined morning meeting block of the day as part of our master schedule, so as not to replace or work in lieu of core instructional time. As was when I piloted this K to 2 step right up lesson in a 1st grade classroom, where 1st graders were quite eager to focus on identity and celebrate the different ways that they identify in similarities and themselves and amongst their peers.
Hi, good evening. I'm Bronwyn O'Leary. I'm the principal at Mount Pleasant Middle School. Grades 6 through 8 host advisory groups. These are small groups within the school that engage in lessons focused on character education and equity. The lessons designed by Us Squared were presented during advisory. Since this time is already a part of our schedule, this did not take away from instructional time, but instead enhanced discussions and lessons in a variety of classrooms. Dr. Tammy Dean will now talk about the multiple modalities of the lessons presented.
Good evening. I am Dr. Tammy Dean. I am a member of the Us Squared coaching staff, and I had the pleasure of coaching Harrison Elementary, Mount Pleasant Elementary, and Heritage Middle School. One of the components that was really essential to the Us Squared team in designing these lessons, it was not only to make sure that the skills developed vertically. So when we look at like lesson 2 that's on here, for example, diversity, that it built on skills in each grade level band, moving up between K2, 3, 5, 6, 8, and 9, 12. We also wanted to be very intentional in providing multimodal instructional opportunities within each of these lesson plans. So you'll find opportunities with things with printed text, with visuals, with videos. And so pretty much any modality you can think of, you can find inside these lesson plans. And aligned with that is also some options for teachers. So that way they can really differentiate based on the students and the experiences, not only in those school buildings, but the students they had in front of them.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brittany Kajewski, and I'm the Dean of Students at Livingston High School. I also serve as the anti-bullying specialist, a member of the Delta team, as well as a district equity audit response team member. Since we did not have our advisory program of community at LHS this year, we decided to pilot these lessons across multiple disciplines and grade levels. Our justice lesson, No More Harassment, was shared through our freshman English classes due to the increase in the number of HIBs in the freshman class this year. While each grade level receives assembly-style HIB training each year at LHS, this lesson allowed staff to work with students on a smaller scale. In collaboration with Us Squared, we created staff-friendly resources, including links to our district HIB policy, graphics of our 100%, and real-life scenarios pulled directly from the high school experience. Our freshman English teachers not only utilized these resources, but also incorporated their own through literature review. And I just wanted to take a moment to thank all of the teachers at LHS who piloted these lessons this year. We recognize how difficult it is to incorporate our equity work through our instructional framework, and we just appreciate all that you continue to do to support our students. Thank you.
As mentioned, different modalities for the lessons were used. Lesson 4 was an action lesson with resources like the one that you'll see at the bottom of the slide. The students were able to hear about Mary McLeod Bethune through an interview. The lesson focused on learning about Mary as a lesser-known figure that worked towards equity before the civil rights movement. Beyond learning about Mary and the action she took to create a better, more just society for others, students took the time to discuss ways that they could take action in their own school to create a safe, inclusive place for all to learn. Thank you. The last lesson, lesson 5, that's been piloted this year was about different perspectives. And in the 3 to 5 band, it focused on finding similarities and differences amongst us and the power of listening closely. And really what the takeaway was is I piloted this in a 5th grade classroom, which was actually my homeroom, was in the planning and preparing for my week ahead, I found that during my ELA block, one of my objectives was on perspective and point of view in analyzing characters in a core novel. And I thought, what a great opportunity to take the time to open up to this mini lesson, that we're not just using perspective and point of view in core novels and analyzing of characters in fiction texts, but amongst each other, and the power of that and the power of listening closely. And so it was this aha moment that these can be cross-curricular, and that the interconnectedness of all of these lessons is that it doesn't have to be necessarily a homeroom teacher, but perhaps we can be finding ways, especially as I think of the departmentalized intermediate, middle, and high school levels, that it can be any teacher that is a student is in front of working with these lessons.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Brooke Benavidez. I am the principal of Riker Hill, a member of the Delta team, and also a member of the Equity Audit Response Committee. So over the past several months, our team is engaged in really meaningful discussions centered on the 100% commitments and the portrait of a graduate. These are powerful tools, many of you know, to support the development of our students as kind, capable, and empowered learners and citizens. We analyzed each document, and through our conversations, we naturally came to the conclusion that we felt we needed a bridge to connect the two. So to address this, voila, we developed a crosswalk, which you are seeing. It is a tool that directly aligns the behavioral expectations in the 100% with the characteristics outlined in a portrait of a graduate. We examined closely the language, the intent, and the desired outcomes. We did this both at the elementary and the secondary level. And what we really found is there were many natural connections embedded within the documents. So for example, when the 100% emphasize empathy, kindness, and repairing harm, we naturally talked about a conscientious friend and a thoughtful communicator. And these are the roles in the portrait. So what we found is that our work revealed that we are deeply aligned here, and our values are highlighted now within this document that we hope our staff and students will continue to use as a guide moving forward. And this will continue to support our character development, our unified messaging, purposeful teaching, and most importantly, shared language across all of our schools. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Allison Devine. I'm a 4th grade teacher at Hillside, part of the Delta team, and part of the Equity Audit Response Committee. So looking at that crosswalk that we just saw, and based on the expectation that all buildings will implement the lesson plans incorporate the portrait of a graduate and the 100%. Each building took the time to do an additional crosswalk aligning all three of these elements and also considering their own pre-existing programs at the building level, such as character education or PBIS. This allowed each building to work on further alignment. Each building is adding a fourth section to their crosswalk based on their pre-existing programs. And this allows for opportunity for the buildings to create teacher-friendly documents that tie in lesson plans and other materials they are already using that they see align with this district-wide work.
Hello, I'm Jim Dignan. I'm the equity coach and math interventionist at Mount Pleasant Elementary School. I am also a member of the Delta team and the Equity Audit Response Committee. Another outcome of the audit response team was the creation of detailed descriptions of the district's equity team member roles. By clearly writing out the roles and responsibilities, we can ensure a more uniform implementation across buildings and at the district level. Additionally, anyone who might be interested in taking on one of these roles will have a thorough explanation of the responsibilities for that role. As you can see from the example on the screen, for the building equity coach, each description is set up similarly with 3 areas: the job goal, roles and responsibilities, and key success indicators. In this case, the goal for the equity coach is the design and implementation of equity initiatives at the building level to support a more equitable and inclusive school environment. The roles and responsibilities are spelled out into 4 key areas, such as school climate and culture, community and family engagement, data analysis and progress monitoring, and the collaboration and leadership. Each area is then further defined with a set of parameters to help the equity coach determine what and how they should be doing to fulfill this role. The last part of the description is the key success indicators. This is divided into 3 areas that touch upon an enhanced school climate, the effectiveness of implementation of equity initiatives, and data-driven decision-making. Along with the building equity coach, descriptions were also written for the anti-bullying specialist, the student equity advisor, and the district equity leadership alignment team members. The breakdown of these responsibilities into the different groups will help us guide our implementation in a coordinated effort across the district.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Bree Manis, and I'm the Student Equity Advisor and teacher at Heritage Middle School and a member of the Delta team. The words featured in our glossary for our equity group came from members of our Delta group that met monthly. Our members took inspiration to add words to this glossary from our book talks from Megan's book, Metamorphosis, our Delta discussions, lessons plans provided by Us Squared, and equity committee meetings.
Hi, I am Dr. Carolyn Strong. I am a member of the Us Squared team as well as the coach for Burnett Hill, Riker Hill, Mount Pleasant Middle, and the high school. One of the things that we wanted to be deliberate about when creating the glossary was making sure that it was a collaborative document. So instead of just saying, okay, here are the things that you need to know, it started off with a, what is it that you would like to know? What is it that you need to know? And based on that feedback, we would go back and rework the glossary. And the best example of that is the fact that each one has an example. Initially, there were only examples for certain ones, but the feedback was that it was helpful, it was useful, and as a result, we should go back and give an example for everyone, and so we did.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dan Garcia. I'm the principal of Harrison Elementary School. I was on the equity audit response team for Harrison and the Delta team at Harrison. Looking forward and using a common glossary and definitions, it's absolutely essential for every staff member in the building. If you ask a language arts teacher or a math teacher about defining common terms, it is absolutely essential that all teacher and staff work on that because that's how we bridge growth from year to year. So I want to just really say that, going forward in team meetings, in curriculum instruction, in faculty meetings, it's endless the opportunities that we have to define words and be on the same page, and also have the references to those great examples so that teachers can connect to those examples when these situations come up around equity. So I know going forward that this glossary will be used throughout the district.
Hi, everyone. My name is Maddie Hom, and I am a special education teacher and equity coach here at Burnett Hill. This year, I've had the privilege of completing the CARES certification program with US Squared. The US Squared CARES certification program is a comprehensive 5-module training designed to foster high-performing teams in diversity, equity, and inclusion work. In fact, 9 of our dedicated staff members from Livingston were enrolled in the certification process. This rigorous program involved approximately 40 hours of work, split between comprehensive pre-work done on the CARES portal with accompanying readings for each module, and engaging in several live Zoom classes with a CARES certification officer. These live sessions were essential for ensuring the continuity and fidelity of all the pre-work we completed. The 5 modules are listed on the screen. Module 1 was Courageous Conversations. Module 2 was about the intersectionality of lived experiences. Module 3 was about restorative practices and social emotional learning. Module 4 was Culturally Responsive Pedagogy, and Module 5 was Sustainable Goals. To complete the certification, each participant creates a personal action plan informed by their intercultural development inventory results. As a special educator, this program has been invaluable. It has significantly deepened my understanding of the diverse experiences and unique needs of my students and their families. Moreover, it provided me with practical strategies for fostering a truly inclusive classroom environment and engaging in more empathetic and effective communication with all constituents. Ultimately, the CARES program gives Livingston the tools and framework to continuously improve, making our schools and community a truly welcoming and equitable place for every single person.
I just need to tell you how proud I am of you. You're amazing. So one of the parts of our work coming into this year was to examine how we were implementing or what our knowledge was for restorative practices. And so it's something that we have been desiring to do for many years. And we worked very closely with Megan and the US Squared team to really examine our knowledge, our understanding, and where our starting point was for restorative practices. We believe we are at the beginning of that process, and we've already engaged in many, many hours of training, readings, and we anticipate that this will be the area we focus on next year at a very high level. We will use that same exercise with the crosswalk to look at restorative practices against the practices we have for managing student behavior, how we're using discipline, how we're engaging with the code of conduct. So we're super excited about the future of this work.
Good evening. My name is Fang Gong. As the Board of Education's representative on this Equity Audit Responses Committee, I'm honored to share a few words to wrap up tonight's presentation. Over the past year, I've had the privilege of working with a thoughtful and committed team focused on making our schools more inclusive and aligned with student needs. Together, through the Equity Audit Response Committee and Delta, we've developed equity-centered lesson plans, defined school-level leadership roles, provided coaching support, and introduced a shared language and expectations. These efforts have helped us begin building more consistency and alignment across the school district. All of this reflects the direction outlined in the district guiding document. For example, our budget goal 3 for 2024 to 2025 calls on us to use the equity audit and community input to provide community-supported research and evidence-based programs and activities to both students and staff to enhance the school environment, to embrace what makes our community unique and special. Likewise, our strategic plan goal number 4 states, Engaging all stakeholders, especially students and their families and guardians, in educational programs is essential to creating a community of equity in our school district. Ensure just outcomes for each student, raise marginalized voices, and challenge imbalance of power and privilege. The work shared this evening is more than a list of actions. It reflects a growing alignment between our district values and our daily practice. It demonstrates how the goals we've set as a district are beginning to take roots in classroom, conversation, and school cultures. That said, we know there's still work to do. This is complex, ongoing work, and the implementations take time. Building shared understanding across a large, diverse district doesn't happen overnight. There's room to grow and important progress still to pursue. As we look into the future, our team has been discussing ways to continue this work thoughtfully and sustainably. Some of the ideas we are considering include train the trainer module to build internal capacity and merging the Equity Audit Response Committee into Delta to create a more unified structure. These steps are still in discussion and will continue to take shape with input from the district leadership and the whole board. I want to express my deepest appreciation to my colleagues on this team for your insight, patience, and commitment throughout this process. I'm also grateful to our central office leadership for their steady support and to the whole Board of Education for setting clear goals and supporting the foundation that has guided this work from the start. While I speak tonight only as one board member, not representing the whole board, I want to acknowledge how much this progress reflects the board commitment and the collective effort behind it. It's been a privilege to take part in this process, and I look forward to supporting its continuing growth in the year ahead. Thank you.
And as we wrap up, on behalf of Us Squared, I would just like to say again how grateful we are for the opportunity to work alongside your district and to support your district along these very important goals and initiatives, especially in our current climate and just everything going on. You've made a strong commitment, and we really appreciate that. At this time, Lisa, what questions do we want to entertain?
I don't know. Thank you. Do you have any questions for us?
So before I open it up to questions, let me just say, I do get to speak on behalf of the whole board, and I'm going to echo what Fong said. This has been a goal for some time for this board, and we have had a strong desire to see progress. And I can tell you sitting here tonight, I see progress. And that is the most important step we can take. And so on behalf of the board, thank you to every single one of you, from parent to teacher to principal to math interventionist to our where is she? I can't see her anymore. Our dean of students somewhere. There she is. Of course, Ms. Steiger and our board member for creating a collaborative environment where a diverse set of opinions and roles were brought together with expertise from Us Squared. On behalf of the board, thank you. This is progress, and let's keep that going. I will now ask if the board has any questions.
Thank you for all this work. It's really nice to see what's come together and how it has all transpired into this very succinct and comprehensive document that we can all refer back to. I saw that you defined all the roles. I saw that you defined everything that needs to happen at each level. How does this work keep continuing once, okay, I guess you have the answer already.
Do you want me to talk about accountability document? Yes.
Okay. So we do have an internal accountability document as well, As we kind of shared, this year was about alignment and creating that foundation. Next year will be about the accountability component. Accountability is not a bad word. It's what allows us to move forward with the momentum we've already created. So the internal accountability document will be looking at all of those building level crosswalks and then doing a checks and balances to make sure that everyone has the resources they need to be able to implement on a timely basis. It will also give the opportunity for every person in the district to be able to go in and see, oh, Hillside did Identity Lesson 1 in September and Collins did it in November. We're not asking every school to do it at the exact same time. We're not creating a chain restaurant here. However, we do want to make sure that everyone implements those lessons so that students across the board are receiving similar experiences, although not the same.
Thank you. Do you want-
It was great to hear from all of the staff and the parent volunteers on this committee and our board member. Thank you for sharing tonight. It's interesting to see how much all of this has evolved during the course of the year, that the work is starting to be integrated into the programs at the elementary and secondary levels, which is nice to see. And it seems to build as children advance through their education here. So I know that this year was about alignment. And what I'm wondering is, and it might be in that accountability document that you're talking about, but how do you evaluate if what you're doing is working across the district? What are the kinds of things that you look at to evaluate that? And is that something that you do ongoing, or is it part of a later rollout?
Yes, so great question. Thank you for that. So one of the pieces we did this year is we created the lesson plans and had the teachers or members of Delta implement those lesson plans, provide feedback. Next year, we'll start collecting data on what actually is being accomplished through those lesson plans. This year was more about let's implement, let's see how it feels. Next year will be let's see how successful it is once we know that it feels okay and doable and able to be sustained. Because we know that if we would have created something that was not able to be sustained, it would not be implemented. And so we're doing that next year when we look at the accountability. We'll look at the data and the metrics. That's why when you see the roles and responsibilities document, we made sure that there was a data-driven decision-making component, and also why we added the key success indicators or KSIs.
So just to jump off of what you just said, you said that there were lesson plans that you have done just to see how it feels. Has there been a process to take student feedback on that?
Yes, so every school, what we did this year is we created 5 lesson plans for each grade level cluster. So we created 5 lesson plans for K2, 5 for 3-5, 5 for 6-8, and 5 for 9-12. During that implementation, we had different teachers implementing that. Some of the Delta members chose to implement it themselves. Others chose to ask teachers to implement for them in their classroom. We received teacher feedback as well as student feedback of how they felt. And I know that there were a lot of stories shared during Delta when we would come back and share how did the lesson go. We received quite a few student stories. One of them, for example, that I remember was a teacher came back and said, I thought that this lesson would be too difficult or students wouldn't open up because we're talking about difficult concepts. And they came back and shared how excited they were because the teacher or the students actually opened up a great deal and they were able to have deeper conversations than they ever expected. So it opened up the teacher's eyes to say, maybe I'm not allowing them to be as open because I was always afraid, but the students aren't as afraid as I might have been. So it opened those conversations. And that's a testament to the vulnerability that the Delta members showed to be able to come in and say, this lesson actually opened the doors for me to go a little bit deeper with certain lesson plans as well. So it was not formal student feedback of, did you like this lesson? But it was qualitative data rather than the quantitative data.
And are you housing that data for those lesson plans anywhere so that if, say, we go back in 5 years and see which lesson plans worked best, which didn't, what problems we're having, and how can we use those lessons that had the most impact for a newer group to come in? Are we documenting that anywhere?
So we're actually taking it one step further, and we're actually modifying the lessons to make sure that every lesson we're putting in that folder, that shared folder, are lessons that are effective and implemented with fidelity. So anything that we found that did not work, because we found some of those, we actually completely adjusted to make sure that it was something that was able to be implemented with fidelity. So everything that's in that folder are all lessons that we found to be successful. And part of the next steps would be those secrets to implementation. Now we just wanted to create what's going to work for us. Then we'll start looking at that accountability, and then we'll start adding on to that so that we don't have a full band of grade levels, because right now we have 1 lesson plan or 5 lesson plans for kindergarten, first and second. Well, we need to have more than that so that a kindergarten student doesn't have to repeat the same lesson next year. So we'll continue expanding every year, creating 1 more lesson plan and moving on from that. But instead of us guiding the process, we're doing a gradual release of responsibility. So Us Squared created lesson plans this year. Next year, we'll be doing those lesson plans together, and it will be a collaborative effort. The year after will be the Delta team creating those lesson plans, and Us Squared being available for support, but not the drivers. Because ultimately our goal, again, is to empower the Livingston staff to be able to do this work after we're gone, because we feel that the best success we can showcase is how awesome you all are doing without us guiding that ship.
So just, just for its sake of memory, if you may, it would be really helpful if there are learnings from lesson plans that failed is also documented somewhere, just because I anticipate all of us will at some point move away, right? And so it should be just a process that is transferable, and any failures are documented just so that a newer team, a newer group is not sort of reinventing the wheel.
One of the really nice things about the work that's happening this year, while accountability is our lens and focus next year, this really was a masterful year of accountability. There is actually a drive that we share as a Delta team that has all of this information, our agendas, everything in it. And the feedback that the team gives is actually part of the agenda process. So it's amazing what gets squeezed into 2 hours every month. But some of that time is dedicated to the lessons, what went right, what went wrong, what do we want to tweak. People are already engaging in modifications, things that they think worked better. They went back in with a different class and tried it. And that actually is all living in our drive, where we're taking notes on agendas or we're modifying text. You can see, like, here was the lesson as it started, here's the lesson as we modified it. And that work will just continue. Over time, we actually found as a group that we needed to carve out a few minutes at the end of every session to just kind of share, like, what else is working? What else did you do that maybe we could do in our building, we could do across the district, and we saved some time so that we could take it just even a little deeper to say, like, yeah, here's the standard lesson, but one building, I think somebody shared out, I think it was Mary, that they, instead of doing it in morning meeting, they realized that doing it during the ELA lesson was great. That's a note. It could be happening during morning meeting, or it could be happening during this unit in the ELA.
Are there any other questions from the board?
One more question. In terms of programmatically, did you find any spaces that modifications would be helpful based on the lessons that you were giving? Were there any learnings from that?
Can you elaborate on that question?
So whatever programs we do, right, as a school district, if there are there any deficits or anything that we can add to those based on some of the feedback that your lessons or students are giving that would be helpful? Say your PBS supports, for example, right, or counseling or anything.
I think Brittany actually alluded to this, that the freshman class at LHS started the year with some interesting needs, and through the assessment of those needs, Brittany and her team were able to examine and say, we're not just going to address this through regular freshman orientation, regular whole grade level HIB, but we're also going to add in a panel discussion. We're also going to add in these equity lessons into the freshman class rather than, pockets here and there. And I know Brittany has already examined the freshman orientation for next year to say, what things can we bring in before they ever enter our school that we can, so I think it's this constant examination, and we're adjusting on the fly, but we're also thinking ahead to some of those things. So I think the freshman orientation is the example that I have at my fingertips.
So you're not talking about things necessarily that are only happening in the school community, but you're talking about things that are happening outside that students may be coming in with. Okay.
Just to speak to that real briefly, in every agenda, we allocated time for, are there any new situations, current events, executive orders, regulations, policies that we need to just openly talk about? It wasn't a conversation to get political. It was a conversation to support staff in how to approach the topic if a student or a parent came to the table with a question or with a concern. It was not legal advice. It was simply, let's have a moment to be human and say, how can we handle this, right? As a civics teacher, as a government teacher, how do we talk about what an executive order is and what it is not? Because social media says a lot of different things that are not necessarily always accurate. So we had that opportunity. We started that at the second meeting, and every meeting we offered time for current events, and we offered additional resources. So Us Squared as a outside piece, we conducted webinars for all of our clients, and we provided those recordings for those webinars for Delta to be able to review. So it was just providing additional resources to, again, add to the toolbox.
And the other nice thing about having Us Squared with us was, so the buildings have coaching, the district has coaching, but I can reach out to Megan, which I did often, and say, Megan, there's something sort of bubbling up in the community, in the world. We need advice today. We need to know how to address it today. And we would bring together as many people as we could to have a conversation, or it would give Megan time, because we met monthly, so it was very predictable. So if something happened, Megan could shift a little bit and we could address something. And there have been a lot of somethings this year. And so we really had that opportunity to have that constant flexibility and responsive conversation, which I know we all appreciated, because our Delta members were experiencing lots of questions and lots of concerns that they wanted to make sure they had the right information, and we needed to make sure they had the right support to take that on.
So those things that are, or may have been current this year, that may not be immediate next year, are there ways that you're integrating whatever learnings that you had from this year into your activities next year?
Absolutely. I mean, yes, that's the beauty of this. This is all about the lessons learned. Even our historical work in equity, we bring forward so much of that, and we have a different starting point than maybe we had 5 years ago. And next year we'll have a different starting point than we had this past September.
Just one last question. I'm really intrigued by the restorative practices. Is there an expectation or a hope that, again, from the lens of restorative practices, there'll be any kind of training to sort of look at our board policies or school policies or anything around that?
So with restorative practices, what our goal is for next year initially right now is to focus on the importance of what restorative practices are and what they can do, and really help people understand the why, and then moving into how to implement restorative practices with students. In regards to policies and everything else, that would be something that would be covered, and I believe it was covered in your equity audit. Because Us Squared did not conduct your equity audit, we reviewed the entire report, we looked at all of those things, but typically we do not review policies and procedures outside of an equity audit, because that is something that we conduct in that equity audit process. Now, that does not mean that we will not offer suggestions if we see them. Just like this year, I don't believe in a scope of work being binding of this is all we can do and have blinders. I believe a scope of work allows us to provide direction and the vision But if something comes up that's going to impact the work, it would be negligent of myself or my team to not address those pieces. So if we see something that is negligent or needs to be addressed, obviously we would have that conversation, but it's not something that's a guaranteed, we're definitely going to look at that. When we typically do it, restorative practices work with the district, it's typically with that foundational level, why potentially a board retreat to help us understand what that looks like. But ultimately, it's the train the trainer model to empower all of your staff to be able to use the work with your students and with your parents and community members.
I alluded to it in my slide. I may not have said it as clearly, but one of the things that I can envision us doing also is a new crosswalk between the restorative practices that we learn and we really own, and our code of conduct, our discipline practices, the way we handle the needs of our students, whatever those needs are that what might be impacted through that. That crosswalk really does speak to some potential policy, reg, protocol changes across the district, and it may not be something that is complete by the end of next year, but I think the direction would be that thing. And so we actually will be starting this summer in some of those conversations. Mark and I have planned some time with administrators to start to lay out some of the pre-thinking. So remember, all the building principals or assistant principals and Brittany are part of Delta. So they've already been in all of this conversation. There are principals, equity coaches, anti-bullying specialists. We're all in the same room together every single month for 2 hours. And so those layers and foundational work have already started, but this summer is for us to sit with the administrators and really sort of dig into, here's our new we love the crosswalk. We love that exercise. Here's the new crosswalk. And it's very interconnected. Mr. Stern, focus 5, just want to say it.
Well done, Mrs. Steiger.
I got it in. And so, yes, that, those will absolutely yield. It might not be that us squared is modifying, but we as a district and as a Delta, that needs to be the focus.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to say thank you, and I'm going to move us forward in our agenda, if that's okay with everybody. Are there any board reports this evening? So so the board's been busy and we've been out there. We marched in the Memorial Day Parade. I want to thank the AAPI committee for their invitation and having us at the AAPI picnic, and also as well as, where else were we? Oh, the Pride picnic. We were there as well. So it's a pleasure to participate in the community. And I will also just add one other board report to remind everybody that next Wednesday, June 11th, we will have a 5-on-5 with the town council, a thrilling discussion. And I invite you all to come in person or online.
Me and Ms. Fong were at the NJSBA Spring Conference, which was a good learning. We both ended up in many of the similar sessions. Some of them were around budget and fiscal responsibility, totally apt for this time.
But it's a virtual, so it's online. We met in.
Yes, it was an online one. And, there are none of the people here, but congratulations to all of the students who got the seal of biliteracy, if you're watching at home. Darcy. You're welcome. You're used to speaking on behalf of all the students.
The student representative.
Yeah.
Are there any other board reports?
Priority covered, so I'm good.
Okay, I will move us forward for the final time. Ms. Bialik, the student representative report.
All right. Make it a little higher. Good evening, everyone. This being my final student report to the Board of Education, I've elected to do something a little unconventional and use my report to honor several of the Livingston staff members who shaped me in my time as a student at LHS. These individuals wholeheartedly embody the values that the Livingston School District represents in their commitment to shaping the minds of each student that crosses their paths. First, I would like to talk about Mrs. Pointer. Mrs. Pointer demonstrated the most unbelievable dedication I had ever encountered from a teacher in helping me and my classmates understand the difficult concepts of Algebra 2 Honors and AP Calculus. In fact, there was one day where I had all 3 meals with Mrs. Pointer, as I came in early and ate breakfast in her classroom, sat with her during lunch to review what we had learned in class that day, and stayed so late after school that I had to DoorDash dinner. Mrs. Pointer never complained or brushed me off. As long as I was willing to put in the work, she was willing to work with me. Next, I would like to talk about Mrs. Fenton. I'm sure we are all aware that in the higher level classes at LHS, there could be a looming cutthroat culture as students feel competitive over their grades. Mrs. Fenton always made her class a safe haven from this constant competition, and she forced us to collaborate on group projects and Socratic seminars, creating a sense of camaraderie in her AP Lang classes. I would also like to speak about Mr. Reyes. Going into my senior year, AP Bio was the class that I felt most nervous to take. Yet Mr. Reyes' humor, passion, and kindness towards every student made AP Bio my favorite class of senior year. It is truly no wonder to me that enrollment in AP Bio is rapidly increasing, as all of Mr. Reyes' students have nothing but positive things to say about him. He's done a phenomenal job of making the higher level science classes at LHS less intimidating. Finally, I of course cannot forget to mention the most influential figure of my adolescent life, Coach Blau, who is actually here tonight. Coach Blau taught me one of the most important lessons of my entire life, that there is no workaround or easy way out in the pursuit of excellence. Coach Blau often pushed me far beyond what I thought I was physically capable of, and at first I loathed the lactic acid workouts and the races so brutal that I had to barf before even stepping foot on the line. But as I look back in my time at high school, I recognize these moments as my most pivotal instances of character development. Coach Blau taught me to actively choose pain and difficulty in an effort to achieve my goals. Initially, as a freshman, it felt like he was forcing the talent out of me and that I was an unwilling participant in my own success. However, Coach Blau's enthusiasm eventually permeated my anxiety, and by junior year, I found myself choosing to do indoor workouts at the Livingston Mall when practice was canceled due to the snow. On my own accord, I swear. Coach Blau taught me self-sacrifice and helped me overcome my anxiety by forcing me to do challenges head-on, never letting me back out or accept defeat, even when opponents seemed insurmountable or challenges seemed undefeatable. This lesson would be transformative for me far beyond the realm of athletics, as it helped me stay driven in my academic endeavors, narrow my professional focus on pursuing law, and would become the central topic of my common application essay. I cannot express enough my gratitude for his unbelievable commitment to helping each of his athletes thrive by any means necessary. Coach Blau taught me how to be unapologetically ambitious, and I can say with confidence that his coaching absolutely changed the trajectory of my entire life. I hope I can continue to make him proud by actualizing his motto, "You can do hard things," which inspired my own motto, "Do it scared." This motto helps me summarize Coach Blau's philosophy that fear cannot be a roadblock to actualizing your fullest potential. Even if something terrifies you, you must simply do it scared. I owe a tremendous debt of gratitude to the Livingston school system as a whole for shaping me from kindergarten to senior year. Thank you for the incredible opportunity to be the Board of Education student liaison over this past year. I hope I did not disappoint.
Darcy, you did not disappoint. I look forward to every meeting to hearing what you had to say.
So he stole my first line. Okay. But there are others. Every year we are blessed to have a student sit with us, and this year has been absolutely no exception. You have been prepared, eloquent, thoughtful, and you have represented the student body as well as anyone can. And so let me say, not just on behalf of the board, but on behalf of everybody who sits up here, it has been our honor to share this table with you. And we wish you incredible success at WashU and beyond, and we can't wait to hear about all the great things you're going to do. With that, we have gifts. Because we're an educational body, this is a book. However,
it's made out of paper. You probably don't know that.
Because I didn't pick the book and it arrived wrapped, I don't know what book it is. That's why I'm sitting there. I'm like, I'm not sure what I'm going to say. But we also did some recognizance, and we know a couple of good restaurants around WashU. And in this card is a gift certificate to one of them. And so we hope you enjoy a good meal at school on us. Congratulations, and we can't wait to watch you graduate on the 24th and shake your hand then.
Should I tell you what the book is? You can see who got it. You can open it and see. So Jill Lepore is a historian and a professor at Harvard University. And I heard her speak at the National Council of Social Studies last year when I went. And it's a storytelling approach to the story of the United States, which is probably a good read for you over the summer before you pursue your career.
Okay, with that, I will move us to public comment. Are there any public comments in the room? We got a comment.
Hello, Melissa DeAngelis, resident, staff member, and president of the LEA. And I just wanted to say I'm so glad that I was here tonight. This is really what Livingston is all about. I'm just so proud to be part of a fabulous community. And congratulations to our retirees, our New Jersey Seal of Biliteracy students, all of the staff that did incredible work for the district and the parents. And Darcy, God, I wish I could be as eloquent as you, but I will never be. I'm not a good public speaker, but I just want to say thank you to the board and the administration for just giving us the opportunity to be part of something so great. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments in the room? Are there any comments online, Dan? Hands raised in online?
Hello, President Seth and other board member. I'm co-hosted this year's API picnic. I would thank you all, and thank Seth and Peru, Fan, Ina, Pam came to the event and celebrated with us. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments? None online? Seeing none, I'm going to close public comment and move us forward. Excuse me. Can I have a motion on item 1, program and curriculum 1.1 through 1.1? Any questions, comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Charles?
Yes.
Mrs. Gong?
Yes.
Mrs. Kemka?
Yes.
Mrs. Yelisevich?
Yes.
And Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Item 2, student services. Can I have a motion on 2.1, please?
So moved. Second.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Charles?
Yes.
Mrs. Gong?
Yes.
Mrs. Kemka?
Yes.
Mrs. Yelisevich?
Yes.
And Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Moving forward to item 3, business. Can I have a motion on 3.1 through 3.8, please?
So moved. Second.
Any questions? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Charles?
Yes.
Mrs. Gong,
Yes.
Mrs. Kemka,
Yes.
Mrs. Yelisevich,
Yes.
and Mr. Cohen.
Yes.
Motion carries.
I have a motion on item 4, personnel 4.1 through, I forgot, 4.12, please.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or comments?
I'll go. I would like to wish all of our retirees, Ms. Davidson, Mrs. Cullen, happy retirement, and particularly our very own Lisa Capone-Steiger, who has been with us for 25 years this fall. And it's been a pleasure working with you for my 20 years, and I'm sure everybody around this table feels the same way. So congratulations, it's well-deserved, and we're really happy for you.
So, you got the box of tissues? All right, cool. There's a lot we could say about your tenure here in Livingston, principal, your current role, and all the contributions you made. But there is one thing that I have noticed from the moment I certainly got here, but I've always noticed. I don't think there's anyone who cares more about the kids of Livingston than Lisa Steiger. If you ever watch when we have kids or students at our board meetings, the smile she has on her face, or the times she covers her heart, that is real caring. And so we can talk about the presentation you gave and all the accomplishments and the representing our students, but thank you for caring about the children of Livingston, for doing so for 25 years and not stopping until November. Right, November? Yes, almost December. And so we'll certainly congratulate you again at the right time, but on behalf of the board, we wish you a truly happy and healthy retirement.
Thank you for 25 years of service to Livingston Public Schools. And I think we can echo everything that Seth said, that it's amazing to see the stamina and level of commitment and even collection of books that, for me, just show how much you care about our students and our curriculum programs in Livingston Public Schools. So we appreciate all that you've contributed and look forward to continuing all of the great work that you did this year with US2 and the full team through November.
Thank you, Lisa, for everything. I just heard you tell me that you're going to be working on restorative practices in the next year, so I'm banking on that. But thank you for all your hard work. Thank you for being here. Thank you for always making it sound like you're here year after year after year. It was like something that we all thought is going to go on, but we wish you all the best, and hopefully you can have a lot of time to enjoy family and your grandchild.
So Lisa, this is only my second year on the board, and I'm already involved with how much work you do every day and how tough your job is. Day in and day out, it takes so much commitment and love from your heart to do what you do. So thank you so much. I wish you have a great retirement, well-deserved. Relax, but we will miss you, but hope to see you around.
Well, I'm newer to the board, but I have observed so much, and I see your passion and how much you care. And anything to do with kids, I see how your eyes light up, and really appreciate everything you did for the kids for the last 25 years. So really wish you all the best. Thank you.
Are there any other comments?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. I just want to also point out in the audience, we have Tom Montesione, who is going to be appointed tonight as the acting supervisor of social studies for the 25-26 school year.
Thank you for your stamina tonight. Are there any other questions or comments? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Mrs. Charles?
Yes.
Mrs. Gong?
Yes.
Mrs. Kemka?
Yes.
Mrs. Yelisevich?
Yes.
And Mr. Cohen.
Congratulations, congratulations, and yes.
Motion carries.
Can I have a motion on item 5, miscellaneous 5.1, the HIB report?
So moved.
Second?
Questions or comments? Seeing none, can I roll call, please?
Mrs. Charles?
Yes.
Mrs. Gong?
Yes.
Mrs. Kemka?
Yes.
Mrs. Yelisevich?
Yes.
And Mr. Cohen?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Are there any items of old business? Are there any items of new business? Ms. Bialek, I offer this once and only once. Can I have a motion for adjournment?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good night.